Guys, coming for Arrow, Season 4, Episode 17, Beacon of Hope, and I was definitely looking forward to this episode. I've really been enjoying these last few episodes. I don't know what everyone's problem is. I know a lot of people are saying, oh, it's depressing, and there was all this relationship drama. I like it. I do. I mean, it shows that Oliver made mistakes. It shows what him and Felicity are going through, and it's all made sense to me. Like, I've understood Felicity. She hasn't come across as annoying. I've understood why she feels this way about Oliver. But this was kind of a break from all that, because the episode was actually a lot of fun, and I appreciate that. I mean, not every episode needs to be this dreary thing, and I like that this episode took note of that. And I will say that this episode was based off a plot that didn't really work in The Flash. It really didn't. But I don't really think it had that time to really, they didn't really have time to do anything with it, because the episode that, this character was in was the All-Star Team episode, that huge episode that was going to be with Ray and Felicity, and didn't really do much of anything, if you remember. It was probably one of the more forgettable episodes of Season 1. I don't really remember it at all. And because of that, I didn't really remember Brie Larson as a character either. But here, I really think she had more time to shine. I think they did a lot more with it. It was a lot of fun. I definitely enjoyed this episode. There were, of course, some dramatic moments, but I thought it was a lot of fun, and definitely felt like the calm before the storm. Like, things are about to get crazy next week, but this was definitely like the calm before the storm, which I definitely really loved. But let's get into this episode, because I really did enjoy it, and I had a lot of fun with it. So, we see, while taking time on advantage of her limited weekly time in the computer in prison, Brie Larson hacks her prison record, alerts her sentence so that she'll be released, and when the guard comes over, Brie brings up a page on bees, and Emily Van Camp just played this with the perfect amount of cheese. I mean, she's, really hamming it up in this episode, but for a role like this, you really need to do that, and I really think she did a great job of that. She had a lot of fun. She was definitely having a lot of fun, you could tell. So at the bunker, the team is sparring, and after the men take out Thea and Laurel, Oliver and Diggle spar. Oliver finally tosses Diggle off the map, points out that he's been cutting down his running. Thea passes on another round, and Laurel points out the streets have gone quiet since Darhk went to jail. A call comes in for Thea, and she says that Alex is in an interview with Rove. Yes, Alex is back in the story. Rove is looking for a new chief of staff before the April 6th election, and Oliver says that he doesn't want to re-enter the mayoral election after he resigned several months, ago. It's just, it would not make sense. People wouldn't think of him as this, people wouldn't really respect him if he did that. And Laurel points out that Palmer Tech is hiring a new head of public relations, and Oliver's thinking, you want to be mayor? Like, I was thinking Laura wanted to do that, but he assures her that it's fine that she still talks to Felicity. He agrees that, because, she wants to work at Palmer Tech, which I like this direction. A lot of people said Laurel have had nothing to do all season, and this finally gives her something to do. She could be working at Palmer Tech with Felicity, which would be interesting. I mean, Felicity and her haven't had a ton of interaction. They've had interaction here and there, but they're not really that close, and this would bring a new dynamic to the show that we haven't seen before, and I really like that. So he agrees that Thea should approach Felicity about Alex, and I'm not even going to talk about the flashbacks, because like I said, I have literally no idea what's going on. I don't care, and I'm just not going to talk about them. I don't care at this point. They're not bad by any means. I just get so confused. I have no idea what's going on. I'm not going to try to figure out what's going on, because I just don't care. Raider's a good guy. The actor that plays him is good. It's just, I don't see the point in these flashbacks being on the show anymore. I agree with people that we don't need these flashbacks. I mean, they take up time from the episode, and we don't really need them. So at Palmer Tech, Felicity and Curtis are reviewing specs to duplicate the spinal implant when Curtis starts sneezing, and this was without a doubt Curtis's best episode. I mean, I really like Curtis as a character, but this was the episode where I finally think he got the chance to shine. I mean, he was so funny this entire episode. This was without it one of the funniest episodes of Arrow we've had in a while. And she says that Dennis is calling me to see how much they can raise the implant's price. Felicity then tells Curtis to go home and get some rest for his cold, because he's constantly sneezing, and just as Donna comes in, Curtis quickly leaves. Donna tells her daughter that she's there to take her out for lunch after the breakup, and Thea comes in. She says that Oliver's fine. Just as Dennis calls Felicity, Felicity ignores it, asks Thea what she wants, and in prison, a guard handcuffs Darhk, leaves him in a room. As we know, Darhk is now in prison, and he's kind of struggling with that in this episode. Malcolm comes in and tells Darhk that he's been in touch with Hive. They're not interested in getting Darhk out of prison, and they're moving forward with Genesis without Darhk, and Darhk instinctively tries to use his powers, but nothing happens, and Malcolm leaves, because nothing really seems to be working, and I like that his powers are kind of useless here. Like, it's not really doing anything, which I like seeing. I like seeing that Darhk's now completely invincible, and he is going to have to, struggle some, which I like seeing, and I think Neil McDonough did a good job at kind of being like, really, they're not working? Like, you'd expect them to work, and they're not working. He's been the one in power, and in this episode, he's actually not the one in power, and I like seeing that. I like their main threat in this episode was not Darhk, because Darhk's in prison. They think they've kind of bring him to justice for now. So Oliver's sparring when Laurel comes in, figures that he's pushing them because he misses Felicity, and she figures figures that she doesn't want to hear from her because of what they used to have. And I really like this scene. The way that Laurel and Oliver talked about Felicity, it didn't feel forced. It felt like this was a genuine conversation they need to have. I mean, Laurel is going, to work for Felicity. Oliver doesn't want her to, and he needs to get over. They just need to figure it out. And Oliver points out that he wrecked what they had as well. Laurel says that a broken heart takes longer to heal than Oliver's physical injuries and assures him that she's there for him. This will take time, and I said it in my last review. This is going to take a lot of time for them to heal. I mean, it's a really hard thing that they're going through. This isn't just some, little thing. This is a breakup, and it's hard for them to really recover from it. You can tell it's really damaging them physically and mentally, and it's just something that neither of them can really go through right now, which is really sad, definitely. So the board waits for Felicity. One of the board members starts gagging, falls to the floor. Dennis can't signal to 911. Mechanical bees fly out of the dead man's mouth. Bree comes in, summons the bees to her, says that she needs the biostimulant biochip. If they hand one over, then Bree will leave. Now, I will say, the bee puns in this episode were just cringeworthy. I mean, Beacon of Hope, even that, that was a pun as well. They were terrible, but that kind of goes with their character. I mean, she's supposed to make these terrible puns. She's hamming it up, and that's why I think she did such a good job, because she didn't hold back. She fully embraced the quirky and cheesy side of this character, and I think she did that really well. And that's something I think they didn't do as well in the Flash episode. They took it very seriously in that episode, and here they just had fun with it, which I liked. So Dennis points out the prototype is inside of Felicity, and Bree says that she'll meet with her. And in Felicity's office, Felicity warns Thea that Alex may not be excited about the job. Bree hacks all the monitors from the boardroom and says that she wants to talk to Felicity about the implant. They realize that Bree has jammed all communications, and millions of bees surround the building. And we see Kurt's at home watching the attack on the TV. He tries to call Felicity, gets no answer, prepares to head back. Paul tells him that the police knew about it, and Curtis says that he's not talking about the police, that it has nothing to do with that. And basically, at the bunker, Oliver and Laurel watch the newscast. Lance arrives, figures that it's a hive attack, and says that Donna's inside. Which, literally, a hive attack because it's bees. But Oliver realizes that it's Bree. It has nothing to do with Hive, because all this has been about Hive. I mean, we know that Hive's been out there. We know that Hive's been very dangerous. He's saying that that's what it is. But this isn't about that. It's about Bree and her robot bees, and prepares to head out with Laurel. Lance warns that an armored squad couldn't get through the swarm, but Oliver insists that they have to try, and basically, I love the scene, by the way, where we saw Oliver reference Voldemort, and they're like, wow, you actually knew who Voldemort was? I love that. Very Cisco-like references in this episode, which wasn't normal for Arrow, but just was fun. It was fun to see this kind of like more just, fun side of Arrow. I like seeing it because we haven't seen it in a while. The show has been very dark, and I like it when it embraces its fun side of it. And yeah, there have been some fun moments here and there, but this really, they had a lot of fun with this episode, and I like that, definitely, because it's gonna get dark. Why not have a fun episode before it? So Bree sends another transmission telling Felicity she has 10 minutes to come or she starts killing board members, and I love the way she's just like tick-tock, like it was very creepy. The bees enter the building, Felicity opens an air vent and starts climbing, and she's in danger. Kirsten arrives at Oliver's abandoned campaign office, tries to find someone, use the cell phone they gave him to a hidden elevator. He takes it down to where the team is suiting up and realizes that they're Green Arrow, Black Canary, and Spartan. I love the way he freaked out. You can just tell that he is this major nerd, and I loved he called it the Arrow Cave, and Oliver's like, we do not call it that. It's very much like with Barry when Cisco first discovered the foundry, and he called it the Arrow Cave. Oliver's like, we do not call it that. It's called we actually call it the bunker, but he doesn't care. Curtis passes out from his illness, and Curtis now knows who they are, which I actually think works very well because Curtis is very close to Felicity. It makes him closer to them, and I like seeing that. And plus, it made for some very fun scenes. So Murmur and two of his associates approach Darhk in the hallway. Darhk realized that Murmur sewed his lips shut, and his two men start beating Darhk, literally to like, not to a pulp, but they start beating him pretty crazy. I don't know what I'm saying, I can't talk today. Darhk fights back, manages to cut Murmur's leg. The guards arrive to break up the fight, and as they get to an access corridor, Felicity explains she needs a working computer to hack Bree's control systems. They hear bees in the vents and run. The bees pursue them. Oliver wakes Curse up. Curse realizes that he wasn't dreaming, and he takes in the bunker and explains that Felicity's trapped in Palmer Tech, and Curtis confirms that Bree hacked the conversion computer, got herself an early release, offers to go inside with them and hack the computers to stop the bees. He goes to work immobilizing enough bees so they can get in, and is happy to learn that they want him on the team, which he's just freaking out. I loved his little reaction to it. I thought it was very funny. I definitely enjoyed that, and he's thrilled. He really is thrilled. You can tell it's something he's always wanted, and I love that. So Felicity, Thea, and Donna take refuge in a storage room. A bee flies under the door, then Curtis hacks it and speaks to Felicity through it. He sends the bees away, and the trio head through the corridors. Curtis sends them to where Green Arrow, Black Canary, and Spartan are waiting. The three vigilantes arrive at the designated entrance, and Curtis realizes that someone has kicked him out of the system, and he's kind of in Felicity's position now, which I like seeing, because now they don't have Overwatch, they need someone to be able to hack into the system, and Curtis can do that very well. So the bees form into an armored warrior, and the team's weapons go through it. The figure blasts them with bees, which sting Oliver, and the trio runs back inside. Diggle and Laurel take Oliver back to the bunker. They try to stabilize him. Curtis confirms that a bee is inside of Oliver, and it's replicating, which was very interesting. I definitely like that. So the women barricade themselves in the storage room again. Felicity figures that Green Arrow will be back, and that he's going to come save her, but basically Bree calls from Felicity's office, says that Felicity's out of time, because there are 5 more minutes, and once Bree signs off, just for the hell of it, I don't know why, but she just did, and Felicity realizes that Bree isn't with the board members, and she has nothing to do with Hive. She's not even part of this, and she's part of something much bigger. Remember, something I like is that Felicity doesn't know what's going on here because she's not a part of Team Arrow anymore. Remember, she left Team Arrow. She's no longer Overwatch, and Curtis is now kind of Overwatch, which I like. So Donna tries to talk about Oliver and the breakup, but Felicity's coming up with a plan, which I like that Felicity doesn't want to talk about Oliver. It shows that that's not her only focus. She'll talk about Oliver when she needs to, but right now, when she needs to focus on the mission, she's going to focus on the mission because she doesn't really know she's going to get out of this. So Curtis warns the others that they can't hack the bee because it's evolved since he hacked it earlier at Palmer Tech, and Quinnan suggests that, Lance, I'd never call him Quinnan. Lance suggests that Curtis lure it out. Curtis realizes that the robot bees operate in a singular frequency, and if they can disrupt it with a high frequency blast, it can damage the network and break the colony apart. Laurel offers her Canary Cry device, and Curtis modifies it, tells her to blast Oliver. She releases the blast, destroys the bees, saving Oliver's life, and Thea then gets Curtis's T-Spears from his office, meets Felicity and Donna. Felicity opens up the elevator to the decommissioned lair so they can use it as a panic room, and figures that once the board members are inside, they can escape through the secret exits, and Donna points out that she's been talking to Felicity to get her to open up about her feelings, and she's not really talking about it. It's clear that she's trying to focus on other things, and the bees arrive and they seal the elevator just in time. Felicity rigs the elevator to stop at the conference room floor. There's a concrete wall outside the door, and Felicity and Thea apply the unstable T-Spears to it. Felicity closes the door, and the spears explode, blasting an opening to the conference room. The board members get in, but Bree arrives. Felicity tells Dawn to keep the others safe, sends the elevator down, and turn with Thea to face Bree. Bree takes Felicity and Thea at gunpoint to Felicity's office. Bree explains her obsession with bees, and I loved her explanation. It was pretty funny. She threatens to shoot Thea if Felicity doesn't give her the implant. Bree wavers and almost collapses. She explains she has a tumor on her L4 vertebrae, and if they cut it out, it will leave her paralyzed. So, obviously that's not going to do well. So Bree that's not going to do them any good. Obviously, they could be charged with a bunch of things, and Bree needs the implant so that she can walk, and that's really why she needs these bees, which really does add motivation for her character. And even though this is a character that I didn't particularly like and wasn't really looking forward to seeing in this episode, they actually made me like her more, and I think they did a good job with that. I definitely enjoyed that. It kind of was like they were writing the wrongs of this character. They realized this didn't really go right. We need to make her more interesting. So basically, Felicity says the blueprints are on a remote hard drive in Curtis's lab, and Bree goes to get it. And at the bunker, Curtis examines the bees while Lance confirms that Donna and the board members made it out. Curtis warns the bees will have adapted to the sonic scream, and he's ready to celebrate what victory they've achieved. Oliver angrily says that Thea and Felicity are still trapped if they don't do their jobs, and friends, family, and loved ones are gonna die. And of course, Curtis doesn't really know what he's doing, but he kind of thinks he does. So Laurel leaves Oliver off, tells him that he can't take his anger out on Curtis because she knows he's upset, and he can't just, take it on Curtis. She knows that he's upset about Felicity, and Oliver wants Curtis to see that it's not a good life, and he was happy when he walked away from it, and he came back because Felicity convinced him that they could escape the darkness. And remember, the very beginning of the season, Oliver said, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be the Green Arrow. He retired being the Green Arrow. Felicity was the one that told him to come back from it, and that's why he's really upset. And I understand that. That's a genuine reason to be upset at Felicity, and I really like that. Laurel tells Oliver that Felicity broke up with Oliver because of his lies, and that life's not fair. True. That's why she broke up with him. He lied to her, and it wasn't just that. Like I said, he's told literally everyone else except her. He kept her out of things, and it just was not the right thing to do. And she tells Oliver that he's a beacon of hope to people and wishes that he tried to use some of that hope for himself. Remember Oliver's mayoral campaign? He's kind of starting to lose that hope. The big thing with Oliver this season that he's tried to stay positive. I heard a lot of people say, oh, they've ruined Oliver's character. He's not interesting anymore. He's a pussy now. No, Oliver's tried to stay positive and right the wrongs of who he once was because he knew that he was this not, very tortured, very just broken man, and he really wanted to turn things around for himself. And he's done that, and that's that's why he's different. It's not, regression, it's character development. That's exactly what's going on with Oliver, and I really like that. So at the prison, Dark's reading in his cell. When Murmur and his two men return, they boast they boost they take they care of the guards, and Dark says that Murmur will have to kill two of them. Murmur stabs his two men to death, and Dark explains that he threatened to kill Murmur's grandmother if he didn't help him. He realized that the prisoners are dead and tells Murmur to call its organization and have the other message delivered. Felicity tries to access her computer, says that she brought the team time, and Thea figures that Oliver will be fine and says they have to push past the violence so that they can be a beacon of hope. And Felicity says she quit the team because she couldn't stand to work with Oliver. However, now that she's out, she figures that she's cut out for something better and definitely is not coming back. Even though they want to come back, she's definitely not, because she's not in the position to come back. And I understand, this just isn't her place to do this. She's in a much better position. She's much happier where she is, and she's fine where she is. She doesn't need to be there anymore. Which, it's not so much just because of Oliver, it's that she really doesn't feel like she belongs there anymore, and I honestly understand that. So Oliver goes back to Curtis. Curtis admits that there's still a danger to deal with. The next time they upload an upgrade protocol, Curtis will upload a virus. He's rigged an arrow with a computer virus payload, and when Green Arrow shoots it near a bee, the virus will transmit to the rest of the colony, and Oliver says that it's nice work, heads out with the team. Felicity accesses the network, confirms that Donna and the board members are okay, and then she tries to override the bees. Bree returns the implant spec. She explains that what she went through the computer. She recognized the code and realized that Felicity was the hacker who sent her to prison, and she's freaking out about that Felicity did this, and that's why she wants to go after her. So the bee figure attacks Green Arrow, Spartan, and Black Canaries. They approach Palmer Tech. Spartan and Black Canary hold it back when Green Arrow heads inside. He gets to the office, pins Bree to a pillar with a lion arrow, confirms that Felicity's okay, and I like that he's still trying to help Felicity. Despite the fact that things are not good between them, he's still gonna protect her because he feels like it's just his duty to. Even though it really isn't, he still feels like he needs to, and the bee figure arrives, knocks Green Arrow across the room. Curse realizes that the bees have adapted a new firewall and warns that he needs a few minutes to hack it. Green Arrow fires the virus arrow near the bee figures. It knocks Thea away. The bees upload the virus and the figure solidifies. Green Arrow attacks the figure while Felicity goes to Thea. Curtis hacks the firewall. The bee they removed from Oliver activates. Quinn and Lance and Curtis run for cover. The bee figure finally takes Oliver down. Bree frees herself and runs off. Felicity sees her go. Felicity grabs a lamp, breaks the bulb, jams the wires into the figure, disintegrating it, and that was awesome. I love the way that was done. Lance finally smashes the robot with a coffee pot, and I love Lance's little robot reference. I thought that was pretty funny as well, the way he just had a random reference, and then he's like, what, I can't quote movies? I thought that was pretty funny, because Lance is usually not the funny guy, and actually he had a funny line here, and his line of what, I can't watch movies too, I love that. I thought that was really good, and I like that they embraced that humor here. There wasn't a character that didn't really have a humorous scene, everyone did. So Felicity thanks Oliver for his help. He said that she never has to thank him, and Bree shoots Oliver in the chest, tells Felicity if she can't walk, then Felicity can't live, and basically Curtis finishes uploading the virus. He takes control of the bees, sends them against Bree, sting her unconscious, and later the bunker. Curtis cleaning up when the team returns. Oliver says that he did good, apologized for his earlier comments, and he realizes that he was really upset and he needs to take out some aggression. Laurel tells Curtis that Bree went into a coma from toxin overdose, and Oliver tells Curtis that he's always welcome there, and basically Oliver's kind of offering him a position, so I'm kind of wondering, is Curtis going to end up as the new Overwatch? Because they need someone to do that. Obviously Felicity's not working there anymore. Is Curtis possibly the one to take over? Honestly, he might be. So Laurel congratulates Oliver in his apology. He says that he's trying to save hope for himself, and he's really just trying to stay positive. He doesn't really know how to, but he's trying to. And Curtis returns home. Paul asks where he's been, and his lover says that he was chasing some fantasy about helping the police, and however, he saw enough to realize that it belongs at home with Paul, and Curtis promises that he won't just disappear again. Paul goes to get him some soup, and I like these two, I really do. Granted, we haven't seen a lot of Curtis and Paul, but I think we had enough of them this episode to show that these two really do love each other. They are a real couple, and I like seeing that. I like that the show has shown a gay couple. I think they've done a good job with that, and they portrayed it in a good way. It didn't feel forced. It just feels natural, and I like that. So Felicity and Thea clean up Felicity's office. Felicity says that Lance drove Donna home, and Thea wonders if Felicity misses a life of crime fighting, and Felicity says she wasn't in it for the thrill. She wanted to make a difference and be a beacon of hope, and that was her main message. She was there because she wanted to turn things around. Says that she's figured out another way to help the team. Felicity wants to make Palmer Tech a beacon of hope, and this might be the way to go. If Laurel really is actually going to Palmer Tech, this might be the best place for her. Even though I think she's still going to be Black Canary, she clearly wants to work at Palmer Tech, and we'll have to see what happens because, like I said, if she ends up working there, the entire relationship will change, and we'll get this new side of Felicity and Laurel we've never seen before, and I really hope that does happen because that could be very interesting. But then the end of this episode, we really see we're in danger for next next week because Malcolm meets with Andy, says that Darhk contacted him, asked him to make contact with his ace in the hole, and the way that scene was done, I absolutely love. It's clear they're going to use Andy. They're going to use him against Diggle. I don't know exactly what they're going to do, but they're going to recruit Andy. Remember, he was supposed to be in Hive, and he's since strayed away, so they're probably going to try to get him back, and basically, that's how they're going to break Darhk out of prison. That's basically our main goal, is to find a way to get him out of prison. But that's basically how this episode ends. And overall, a really fun episode. Like I said, I thought this was a really good calm before the storm kind of episode. I really think that Curtis would be a good Overwatch, though, for Felicity. I mean, Oliver and Felicity are dealing with a lot. It's, it's no lie. You can tell they're dealing with a lot. That's definitely a fact. And it's going to take them a while for them to get over everything that's happened to them. And I feel like eventually they will come back together. Probably by the end of the season, I think things might be okay between them. I'm not really sure. Maybe they won't be back together, but they'll at least, I think, understand each other. But I think it's going to take a while. Definitely, it's going to take a while. There's a lot that they went through, and there is a lot that Oliver has to be mad at Felicity for the fact that she told him to come back, and she kind of made him do all this again, even though he didn't want to. Yeah, it really was Felicity's decision. Like, she didn't really give him a choice. He kind of had to do it because she wanted to, and he just did whatever Felicity wanted because it's just how he is. He's kind of just a nice guy in the sense that, Felicity wants it, then he wants it, and he really didn't want it, and I think he's kind of realizing that now, and I really like that. I like Bree the character. I hope we see her again. I think she's an interesting character. She's funny, but she's also going through a really personal dilemma, and I really like that. How are they going to use Andy? I mean, it's clear that's how they're going to break Darhk out of prison. I don't know exactly what they're going to do, but it's clear that that's what their goal is going to be, is to use Andy, I think, as a way to get Darhk out of prison. How exactly, I don't know. I'm definitely interested in seeing how that's going to be. But Malcolm and Andy, this is kind of an unexpected pairing, but I like that these two are teaming up. Andy basically has no choice because I feel like they're going to threaten Diggle if Andy doesn't agree to go with them, and I think Andy knows that. And what is going to happen with Diggle? Because we didn't even see Diggle really in this episode. Diggle was there, but he really wasn't a huge presence. He was kind of just as Spartan this entire episode, which was fine because we really got to see that relationship deepen between Oliver and Laurel, and I really like that. But is Laurel really going to join Palmer Tech? I mean, Felicity says she wants it to be a beacon of hope, so is this really where she's going to go? I'm looking forward to seeing if she does, because Palmer Tech is kind of where the commie's at right now, and I hope that they keep her there, because it actually, I think, would be fun if we kind of had two exes going back and forth about Oliver. It'd be really fun, actually. It'd be kind of cheesy, but it'd be fun as well, and I think the show's really embracing that fun, quirky side that it has. Remember all the fun lines that Felicity used to have, and people say Felicity's not as fun? No, she is fun. She's just very wounded right now. That's just character development. That's how her character is. It's not that she's not the same person. She's just very wounded and very hurt, and in the beginning of the season, she was quirky. She was fun, but when something really gets to her, I mean, it really does break her a bit, and that's kind of how everyone is. Sometimes people hide things, some people aren't hiding things, and that's just how Felicity is, really. That's just how she is, and I think people need to understand that. But overall, guys, really fun episode. Definitely really loved it. Next week looks crazy. I can't wait to see what happens. Next week we have an Arrow episode, but we don't have a Flash episode. It's very strange. I don't think it's ever happened before. I don't know if you guys saw this episode. Love to hear your thoughts, and we'll see you guys in my next video, which will be for the Americans, and we'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.